My feet.
Okay, yep, I think you're being recorded. Alright. Well, hey class. My name's John Lytle. I'm here with my mom, Betsy. She's an octogenarian. That means she's old. She's 84 years old.
Yep.
I had to squeeze in a lot of things here because I'm going away to Michigan, and I wanted to get this done before I went to Michigan. So I invited my mom over for dinner. So as we're eating, we're going to be doing this interview. I know this is very unorthodox, and I'm sorry about that, especially to the professor who's grading this. But hey, we have to make best of my time. My mom's a very busy woman at 84
Yes.
years old. So let's go ahead and ask the first question. So we already discussed your age.
Yes.
And is everything okay, by the way?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Good
I had
job.
to cook for her in order to get here. So 84 years old. So you knew Jesus when he was a carpenter.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Our class talks about a change and the changes that you have seen through your time. Sorry about that. I was going to dress up for this and everything. I so apologize. But you guys are students, and I'm sure the professor, you understand, we just got to get things done sometimes. So we just thought we'd do this as we ate, so apologize.
Well, that's not fair because they could be dressed, undressed, badly dressed, or whatever. We wouldn't know.
No, I gotta watch all their videos.
Oh.
And I gotta comment.
Do I have to watch all their videos?
No, you don't have to watch the videos. Unless you want to.
No, well, I might be too tired.
Okay. So I'm going to Michigan. I'm flying out tomorrow night, so we're going to do this to that. So change. We're talking about change. So let's talk about, how about this aspect? When you were living, because we've already done some other interview time with Mom, and we talked about, maybe I need light.
That's probably helpful.
Sorry. I'm trying to know light. Does this count for time? Okay.
Okay.
I am not going to get a good grade on this, I'm sure. Okay, so change. You grew up in a park, and you seem to be isolated from a lot of other people. And you did that all the way up to your 18, so you went to college. And when you went to college, was there a big change? I mean, socially, with different people and stuff like that?
Well, for the first time at the age of 18, well, actually it was 17, I was going into groups of people that was my age in my group, my first year group in nursing college, but I didn't know any of the people above me, and I was every day with a lot of people, patients, nurses, doctors.
And you were just used to being with your family, your brothers and
yeah,
sisters?
Up in the park with the dogs,
Mm-hmm.
basically. From
Some culture shock, I imagine.
Memorial Day was when we opened the park for, picnics in the pool and then baseball and things like that. And we closed it on Labor Day. Didn't matter if Labor Day for the next month was 90 degrees. We closed it on Labor Day, So then during the winter, we just did projects to clean the place, paint the pavilions, and cut logs and do lumber into firewood. That's about it. So, our crew in the park,
People are people.
were all different, every single one of them. I knew them as well as I knew my own brother and sister. And of course, they took pretty good care of the boss's daughters.
Yeah, I bet.
Kept us out of trouble.
That would be great. I think that would be cool. I wish I would have lived down a park when I grew up.
It was fun.
I used to play in the front yard. They wouldn't let me in until 5 o'clock at night. I had to drink from a garden hose. That's how we were raised.
That was so. Well,
And look at me.
yeah, look at him. It looks like he skipped a lot of meals, right? No, that was for your sake because we thought children belonged outside in the daytime.
I thought it was only me, but as I hear comedians talk about it, it was a whole culture of
It was.
people making sure the kids stayed out till 5 o'clock
Yeah.
till you whistle and we came in.
That's true.
But I wouldn't have had it any other way. I played, and heck, I become the athlete I was all the way up into my 40s.
Where I grew up, we had from September onward winter. So when I was outside, it was up to my knees in snow. But I was was outside in the park with the dogs, with my dogs.
Okay, so that was kind of a change.
Yeah.
What about your change? Now when you were in recession, you were born in 34. Okay, and recession was 29 to 39, so
Right.
kind of hard to remember anything from the recession. Did your dad ever tell you any stories?
Oh,
Her
God.
father passed away. My grandfather passed away in 1976.
Yeah.
And she has this cane, so I'll show you this, kind of pretty cool, with all the names of her great grandfather, her grandfather, and herself. So now I'm going to have to put my name on there sometime when I need a cane. So that cane has to be over 100 years old.
Well, he was
That's
born
crazy.
in 1801.
Yeah, but he wasn't using a cane when he was born.
No, but it probably came from his father.
When you interview, this is just a tip. Do not argue with the interviewer or interviewee.
Well, that would be impossible, John.
To argue with me?
To not.
I'm not drinking, by the way. She has a glass, but not me.
It's ginger
Water.
ale. It's totally ginger ale. If he tells you anything different, he's lying to you.
Okay.
Okay.
So what are we talking about? This is going to be a great interview. I am not going to get a good grade.
Back in the 1930s when we had the terrible bank failures, I did know about it because as a child growing up, it was a major problem in the house. My dad and mother already had 2 sons at that point, and my youngest brother died in 1930. Of course, I wasn't born yet, but he only lived 3 months. And Dad had that to deal with at the same time. Plus, my older brother was a baby boy at the time. He was only 2 years old, 3 years old. So they had a hard time. Then Mother had my sister, and then she had me. That's a lot of money. And of course, we're all born at home. You didn't have doctors come to the house.
And when did he land a job at the park?
When I was in...
During the Depression, later in the Depression?
I was in 1st grade, so I was 6 years old, so that would be 1940.
Right at the end?
And that was right before the war.
He lucked out then, huh?
Yeah. He was political. His friends from the military, from World War I, were military, and 2 of them were, one was a mayor and one was a police chief, and I knew them all. And they had an opening. The man that ran the park passed away, and they asked Dad if he'd like to be superintendent of the park. And he was there until I left home at 20. He was still there.
Wow.
So that was in 1940. So yeah, that was his life job.
Wow. So kind of hard to remember other than the stories about the change from.
Yeah.
How about when you worked as a nurse your whole life and then you decided to retire?
Yeah.
You gave up a career, a profession that you loved, and then you retired. Was there like a letdown? Was there like
Of course.
how'd that make you feel?
Terrible. I felt like I was contributing a whole lot to the world. My last job was this risk manager for Humana Medical Plans for the state of Florida. So it was a power job.
Yeah.
And I had
A lot of people counting on you.
I had a lot of strokes. I was in charge of risk management for the state. That's 5 districts. And I also had a certification of Florida to teach in-service education. We had to have so much education every month or every year to get our license renewed.
And you would have to do those teachings to the nurses?
To all 5 areas of Florida. Yeah. And I loved that.
All the professions nowadays
Yeah.
have accreditation.
Yeah.
All of them. Even social work, we have to go to the classes.
There's
HIV and hepatitis and...
See, now a lot of that is required every year. You have to every year meet that requirement. But then I also taught patient education. What are you teaching your patients? How do you treat your patients? I don't care how badly they treat you. How do you treat them? You get this now.
Yeah.
How your attitude when you're dealing with people like you're dealing? These people are hurt,
Yeah.
or sick, or
Yeah.
unemployed, or hungry,
They're reaching out.
or homeless, and they're helpless.
Mhm.
And they look at you like you're an angel. And if you turn out to be a loudmouth and tough guy, you're not going to help them. And you're not. You're a good person. Okay?
Which child's your favorite? I was just curious. You got 3 children. Which one's your favorite? Just while we're on tape right now, I'm just kind of
Well, since I'm sitting at your table eating your food, right?
And my ginger ale.
And your it is ginger ale. That's the only way I can talk to people, is with some subsistence.
Change is hard, and anytime you have change and just accommodating the change.
Did you notice I didn't answer the question?
What?
Favorite child?
Yeah, well, yeah. I already know. I'm the rebel. You know, I think it's not Kubler-Ross. Now, see, I'm gonna requote the wrong.
But I know her very well.
Kubler-Ross?
Yes.
Well, it must be related. She's her last name. Actually, here's a good question.
Oh,
Her maiden name
you're
is.
not going to do this.
Her maiden name is Betsy Ross. How was that growing up through through high school and elementary school? Hey Betsy, how's the flag coming?
Just fine, thank you.
Really? Did you get a lot of that?
Oh, every day. Yes. Yes. I told my husband once the only reason I got married was so I could get another last name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
And that probably worked out.
What was your comeback? We've never talked about this. Even on the
pretty.
previous interviews, we never
Yeah.
talked about this issue, but I find it funny because I'm humorous.
Yeah.
I've been told.
Well, so is your arm.
What?
Humorous.
Ah, very good. That was a medical joke in case
Yeah.
any of you knuckleheads on that.
Yeah. Well, actually, sometimes I got them really upset because I would say, you know, that's an interesting question about my name. Did you know that she was married to Charles or John Ross, and his father
And they didn't want to hear that.
is not related to us because that was through marriage, and that's not blood. But his uncle
That was your comment?
was, yeah.
You didn't have a smart-ass retort
Yeah,
or something?
I
That's what you
I
had?
can't tell them
You had
that.
education?
I've told them several things I wouldn't want to tell the people here.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
I did try to educate them on the, signers of the Declaration of Independence, who's my uncle.
There's a Ross in there?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Charles.
You may know is John Hancock.
Did you know who the chief of the Cherokee?
Now, who's interviewing who here?
Huh?
Do I know who the Cherokee who is?
The Cherokee chief. His name is Donald Ross.
Well, there you go.
He married a Cherokee maiden princess, and the tribe elected him chief about the time that Jackson said he has the solution to the Indian problem, which I later in college wrote a nice article about how
College
that
is a waste of time.
sounds like Hitler. They found the solution to the Jewish problem in his day.
But what did the Ross do? He killed the buffalo, right? Wasn't that their idea there? Kill the buffalo, run the Indians out? Trail of Tears?
That's Jackson.
Oh, Jackson, Andrew Jackson.
Yes. And I do not like the man.
I'm not going to get a good grade on this.
And my college professor said to me he wanted a paper on the Cherokees' Trail of Tears. And I said it wasn't just Cherokees, it was also Seminoles and Greeks and all
Choctaw.
sorts of kind.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
And so he said, well, that's fine, include them. Well, I wrote him a 6-page thing that he stamped, wow. And I apologize to you for my bigotry. Okay?
Well,
He didn't know about my cousin. That was the leader.
maybe before the colleges were liberal, but that's just not my opinion. The professors don't apologize now.
There's so many things happens to you.
Change.
And
What was the happiest time of your life?
I think when I was a child that age in the park, I liked to write poetry and had the dogs with me all the time. I had 2 Boston Terriers, Jigs and Butter, that I had with me all the time. And
Dogs bring joy.
Willie, they bring a calmness to your soul
Yeah.
because they love you without any explanation.
Unconditional love.
Total. All you have to do is go, did you do that? And boy, your ears go back, their tails go down, and and
I need a dog.
I tried that with you kids, but it didn't work.
Yeah. She beat us with taped
2 paint
paint
sticks.
sticks taped together.
Yeah, well, they were convenient one day
It
when
was
I.
child abuse now in your days.
No, it wasn't. They
Not
often
them.
you often threatened to call the state and tell them I was abusing you. And I told them to go ahead and I'd abuse you afterwards.
Yeah, that's true. Back in those days, the cops would kick your butt, send you home, and then your parents would kick your butt. So.
Well, they would bring you home by the scruff of your neck and say, I'm going to tell you about your boy.
So your happiest time in your life was when you were,
Probably.
you know.
Childhood.
That's always an interesting question, anyways.
You know, that's an
I'm
easy...
guessing mine's to come. Because I lived life every day.
I think you enjoyed
The
your
same.
military experience.
Mhm.
I think that when you were away from home on your own, I think that gave you an experience that you really liked.
Oh, that's the oven. It's telling me it's 16 minutes.
No, I think that's the best time. Everybody has the best time. I thought it was wonderful when I got married. When I started having children, I was so delighted with my first baby to carry a child and to bring a child into this world. It was just absolutely amazing. I'd look at her and go, I just don't understand this. I didn't know what to do with her.
Well, there you go. When I had my grandchild, you're right.
Yeah.
I was too busy when I had my child, but when I had my grandchild, I was amazed.
Men miss that part because they're not working.
Yeah, that's how I was. I was working then. I missed that.
And they think we're at home watching television.
Eating bonbons.
Yeah, right.
My feelings,
Until we leave a child with you for one day.
Yeah.
You find that out.
My daughter left me with the grandchild for about 2 hours, and that was just about all I could do. I was like waiting, counting the minutes as she got home. So, but she knew not to leave me that long. Well, I know this whole semester I've bothered you with a lot of these interviews, and I thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And I hope you enjoyed your meal. Hope it didn't get cold on you as we did this.
That's fine.
And I know you're a busy woman, so I'm going to have to let you go.
Yes.
So thank you very much for coming by.
My pleasure.
All right. And thank you guys. Talk to you later.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.